We're filing a lawsuit that says that basically the entire election in Pennsylvania was a sham. It was determined after the president had been ahead by 800,000 votes on election night. They basically stole those votes back by conducting a canvass of mail-in votes that was supposed to be observed by both sides, in which Republicans were corralled and kept over 20 feet away, in which they were unable to see any ballot, any envelope, any verification, even though the law of the state of Pennsylvania required it.
Currently, media outlets have called Pennsylvania for Biden in a narrow 50,000 vote lead. Rudy Giuliani, along with an army of top brass attorneys for the Trump campaign, have hunkered down in what they view as ground zero in the Democrats' stealing of the election. And while the Trump legal team won such cases as the basic right to watch the ballots being counted, such court victories meant little on the ground.
And even though the second day a judge ordered it, the sheriffs refused to comply and actually moved the tables further away and told our people they'd be arrested if they went any further. So this was an election in which over 300,000 votes were counted that way in Philadelphia, and 330,000 votes were counted that way in Pittsburgh. So that would invalidate about 600,000 votes in these two Democrat machine counties.
Giuliani points to the amount of time it took Pennsylvania to finally tabulate the ballots. Where the state of Texas was able to process millions of ballots in a matter of hours, Pennsylvania has, conveniently for the Democrats, taken almost a week.
They're way beyond the small margin that Biden has in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania, which of course was acquired after President Trump had an election night lead of 800,000. And it took 4 days, really, to bring it down, because it took 4 days to be able to create enough of these ballots and hide them from the Republicans to bring that number down. But I mean, the news networks, of course, didn't bother to cover that.
At the core of Giuliani's case for President Trump in Pennsylvania is the argument that under Pennsylvania law, every mail-in ballot can be inspected by a Republican and a Democrat. But, says Giuliani, of course, in an election that had to be rigged by the Democrats, the left will fight tooth and nail to ensure that none of these ballots are inspected for their integrity. To the Trump legal team, confidence is high that the law is by their side, and this election is far from over. Chanel Rion, One American News,
See that?
the White House.
The Biden campaign has prematurely claimed victory, with many of the states still sifting through the mess of mail-in ballots. Constitutionally speaking, Biden is not the president-elect. It appears from their blatant disregard for constitutional norms that their strategy is to use the media to declare their victory and simply take the White House without following the constitutional process. And the mainstream media is helping. President Trump's team is fighting the vote tallies in court, and we can expect a legal victory for the Trump campaign, both procedurally and factually, due to the massive amount of voter fraud concerns raised over the last week. Regardless, the Biden campaign, through the media, is storming the gates of the White House, demanding the Trump administration turn over controls of the presidency to Joe Biden and his team. Under normal circumstances, during a change of any administration, a transition team would be put into place to start learning their jobs before formally assuming the helm on Inauguration Day in January. However, Biden has not won the election. To demand control of the executive branch and demand that their team be put into place before a lawful election result is nothing short of a White House siege. It appears that the Biden campaign knows they legally and factually lost the election. They are hoping to gain the physical ground of actually occupying the executive branch before the Supreme Court rules, because they expect the Supreme Court to decide in President Trump's favor. If they believe they legally or factually won, they would have no concerns about waiting for the decision. By demanding entry now, they have sent clear signals that they expect to lose at the Supreme Court and want to be on the proverbial high ground and hope Republicans don't fight them out of the actual office. They are actually taking the executive branch by storm by demanding access they do not constitutionally have. election fraud, court manipulations, and now storming the executive branch. Biden is signaling he knows he doesn't stand a chance in a recount, so they want to fight from the high ground and are trying to take the White House by force. And the media is their weapon of choice. I'm Christina Bobb, One American News, Washington.